Today is Tuesday, September the 22nd, and I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my daily thought. All right, KIRWKC.com is the main podcasting platform. You can listen to all of the podcasting episodes on KIRWKC.com. All right, where to start? I'm taking a drink for those who are listening, because I know some people are watching, others are listening. So, where to start? Today has been an interesting day. Thankful I made it to another day. Hopefully you're thankful that you made it to another day too. I'm starting to feel like I need to change my address because I keep on ordering grocery, and I just feel like I would be better off living in a grocery store. Because more grocery came today, and I was just thinking about that. I'm like, wow. So, yeah, I've been doing too much with grocery. But I gotta eat. Even though I'm not gaining weight because I have a high metabolism, but I'm not complaining because having a high metabolism isn't a bad thing. This will be short. Hopefully I won't jinx myself, because every time I say that it will be short or I don't plan to talk that long, it ends up being 20 to 30 minutes. One of my pet peeves is when I meet someone and within probably about 5 minutes of the conversation, they'll ask, well, what do you do for a living? I don't like, which I mentioned this before. I forgot what episode it was on. I believe it was the how much does that cost on that daily thought. That's what I think it was on. I think I mentioned it then. Where when someone asks how much I paid for something, also, or when someone asks, where do I work? Or what do I do for a living? I don't like that question because it's none of your business unless I tell you, unless I volunteer the information. And you have a group of people who are, when they ask that question, they're trying to determine what resources you can bring to them, how resourceful you can be to them, or if there's any type of synergy based off of what they have available with their resources and trying to combine and do all of this other stuff, like you're in an episode of Power Rangers or Voltron, for those who want to go way back. It irritates me because I prefer it when people just get to know you. And some people are like, well, knowing what you do for a living is getting to know you. In my eyes, not really. I feel that is too personal of a question. Versus, what are some of your favorite restaurants in Los Angeles? Where do you usually like to go eat at? Or something. Or are you a beach person? Do you like to go surf? Because we have a lot of surfers here in California. Do you like to go hiking? What are your extracurricular activities? You know, do you hang with your family a lot here, or whatever? If I sit down and think about it, I could come up with a laundry list of things to ask someone that would give me insight to their personality and the type of person they are, outside of what do you do for a living or where do you work. And it seems like in cities or online, people are just they just live for networking. Like, oh, you do this, well, I do this, and we can get together, and then I can help you out on this, and you can help me out on that, and da 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 da. And I'm just like, wait a minute, how did we go to all this? Why do we need to even do this? Why do we need to link up on a business level? I don't even know the type of business you truly do. I don't have any references from you. I literally just met you. So why are you already planning this or trying to set this up or doing this or doing that when we don't really know anything about each other except the baseline of what someone does for a living? It just doesn't work for me. And you have those people where they'll speak to you just to get a conversation going so they can tell you what they do, and so they can find out what you do, and then figure out if the resources match up and all of this other stuff. And in every area is different. It's really on overdrive here in Los Angeles, which is another reason I don't deal with people a lot, because I don't have time for all of that. It's like, if I'm going to rock with you, then I like stuff to happen naturally. I don't like for stuff to happen where people approach with a purpose, if that makes sense. I'd rather it happen just in conversation. Like, I've known someone for a month or so, and then all of a sudden I find out they do something, and then they might find out I do something, and then it's like, oh, for real? And honestly, when I find out what someone does, the first thing in my head is not, oh, well, how can this work to boost my career? Or how can this work to, help me with my lifestyle? Because I don't look at people like that. I don't approach people like that. It's just not my thing. One thing that I also, which for those who have been listening and watching and following the show, and again, thank you for that, and I sincerely mean that. If you've been watching and following the show, you know that my favorite animal or creature, reptile, is the snake. And I've given some of the things that I love about the king cobra. But snakes in general, one thing that I like about snakes, because they get a bad rap in my opinion, is that they hunt alone. You will not see a snake linking up with another group of snakes to have a meeting to say, okay, let's pull our resources together. Let's see what we can do to get some food. No. If an anaconda is out in the wild right now in the Amazon, it's not going to link up with other anacondas to catch what it needs to catch. It's going to go out on the hunt by itself and use its own resources, and then it's going to catch whatever it's going to catch. And either it'll catch it or it won't. If it doesn't, then it's going to move on and look for more prey. It's not dependent on any other thing except the prey is looking to hunt and capture and eat. I'm not saying groups are a bad thing. I'm not saying networking is a bad thing. So let me put the caveats in there. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that don't make it your life's mission to just live to network. Like, oh, I got to meet more people. I got to meet more people. Okay, I met 5 people today. I want to meet 10 people next week. After you meet 10 people, okay, I met 10 people. Now I want to meet 20. I got to keep on so I can see what resources they have and link up and do this and do that. And then see if I can get up the ladder and they'll have them help me out and I help them out and all this. No, it's not that serious. It isn't. First of all, the only resource you will ever need is, well, the only 2 resources. Let's pull that right on together. The only 2 resources that you'll ever need are yourself and the universe. Those are the 2 main resources. As long as those 2 things are in sync, you're going to be good to go. Because if those 2 things are in sync, the universe will bring you what you need. You got to ask for it. And you have to be active. But again, you got to have balance. And that's something I always talk about. Don't overdo it. I'm not saying sit on the sidelines and just wait for stuff to come to you. Is it possible for that to happen? Yes. Almost anything is possible. Pretty much anything is possible. However, you don't want to be on the other extreme where you're just out networking, trying to meet people, and do this and this and that when it's not that serious. One time, I'll tell you a quick story. And I didn't even mean for this to happen. And that's the other thing too. I don't know why, and I mentioned this before, I do not know why people feel comfortable talking to me and they don't even know me. But people just tell me stuff and have conversations with me all the time out the blue. People I don't know. But I digress. So, I was on the elevator. True story. I was on the elevator. There was this man on the elevator. There was another man on the elevator. The other man knew of me because anytime he saw me, he would always speak. And you know me, I'm polite. I'm not fake. Check out the episode, Polite versus Fake. Side plug. And I always speak back because I'm being polite. All right. So the man who usually speaks to me when he sees me had got on the elevator and he had a brief conversation with the other gentleman on the elevator. And then he said goodbye to me and to the other gentleman. I said goodbye, da 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 da. So then it was me and this gentleman on the elevator that I do not know from a can of paint. All right. This man starts talking to me and just having a conversation with me. Again, I'll be polite. I won't be fake. And he happened to bring up something. Well, first he's like, I've seen you before. And I was like, yeah. And I said, and I told him where he's seen me. And then I told him what floor I'm on. And he's like, oh, okay. You're with such and such. And I was like, yeah. You know, it's like, well, what do you guys do? And then I started telling him about all the stuff we do and our clients, which the clients for the job that I have, the clients that we have are internationally known clients in my regular 9-to-5 job or 9-to-6, whatever you want to call it. So, and I was just having a conversation and, you know, I wasn't trying to sell anything. I was just having a natural conversation, being polite and also answering his question too. And he's like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, he was like, I want to work with you guys. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know who this guy was because, again, when I'm out, I mind my business. Someone has to approach me in order for me to speak. Because if they don't, more than likely, I'm not speaking. Because, number one, my brain is constantly thinking about other things. For those who follow the show, you know that I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So my brain is constantly thinking. I'm not really focused on all the other stuff that's always around me sometimes. I see things, but it's kind of a blur. And I'm thinking about other stuff as I'm going places. So I naturally don't speak to people. Also, the other reason I don't speak to people, if I don't know you, I'm not talking to you because I don't feel like being bothered. All right. So I didn't know who this guy was, but he's like, I want to work with you. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, I'm with such and such. I'm like, oh, okay. I know that. I know that company. Come to find out, it's a small world after all. Come to find out, he hands me his card. Or no, he didn't have a card. That was the thing. He didn't have a card. That's what it was. He didn't have a card, but he handed me a booklet, like this thick booklet. And I'm like, okay. And then he told me who he was. Come to find out, he was pretty much the owner of the entire building. That the company I'm with could, the old building we were in, there, he was the owner of the entire building. It's a large building. And he was the owner of the company. Basically, the building has his name on it. So, and I didn't know who he was. But the point of the story is, as soon as the elevator door closed, I wasn't like, ooh, I got a network. Let me go ahead and talk to whoever this is because they were talking and then da-da-da-da, and maybe we can go ahead and work together. Because I didn't care. If that man would not have talked to me while we were on the elevator for the rest of our ride going upstairs, my day would have still been the same, regardless. I wasn't living to network because, again, I didn't care. I wasn't looking at him as a resource because, to me, that's an insult to just look at people as resources, to look at people as a stepping stone, a ladder. And when he approached me conversation-wise to have a conversation with me, I was just like, okay, I'm going to be polite. I'm going to converse. And it happened because he had said he had seen me. And because of that, and because we were in the same building. Now, if we would have been outside of the building somewhere, at a restaurant or something like that, and he asked me, if he were to ask me, oh, well, what do you do for it? The walls would go up because it's like, I don't know you. Especially if it's somebody I don't recognize, because I didn't recognize him. So if it was outside the building, it was like, I don't know you. But because it was inside the building, when we were having that conversation and he was asking what floor I worked on, it's like, okay, he's one of the people in the building. All right, it's not that serious. I just took it in stride, that question. And again, I wasn't living to network. It's just I told him, this is the floor we on, this company I'm with. And then it sort of started rolling from there. But I was unintentionally selling him on the elevator. That happened, and it happened pretty much organically. I wasn't living the network. And the universe put me on that elevator, just like the universe put me here doing this show right now. And just like it put you where you are watching or listening to this show right now. Everything happens for a reason. Again, balance. I'm not saying sit back and be complacent and not go out and achieve your dreams. I'm not saying that. Also, I'm not saying go out and go into overdrive trying to meet every single person on the planet to try and network with them. People are more than their resources. People are more than just the network. We are all individuals. There is more to us than what we can provide to others on a business level. And that is the whole point of this particular daily thought. There is more to a person than what they can provide you on a business level. Now, if you want to keep something strictly business, there is nothing wrong with that. But that's when you're walking into something that is a business. If you're working somewhere and you want to keep it strictly business, which is the preferred thing to do, because that's how I usually operate, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are approaching someone, don't look at them as just a stepping stone. Try to appreciate the individual too. I'm not saying you have to go out, have drinks, and do all of this stuff and hear about the wife and kids when you don't care about their kids and everything else. I'm just saying, don't make it a point to have networking as the number one thing on your mind when you're dealing with them. Move it down to 3 or 4. So, yeah. Or if you're going to have networking as number one, put yourself in an environment where everyone there, that's specifically what it's for. If you see what I'm saying, where it's a convention or an event where people come together, and that happens. That actually happened with real estate, where a bunch of people will get together and see if there's anything that they can offer each other to make, I forgot the name of that event. It's a real estate event, and like tons and tons of people meet, and it's a ridiculous amount of money to attend. Not ridiculous in the sense of if you're able to gain, because at one of the events, the company I worked for at the time gained a client that invested like $50 million. But for the average person to think, oh, you have to attend this, I think it was the Mark something event or whatever. It's not coming to me because this was years ago. But if it's something like that, if it's an event where everyone knows what they're coming there for, is what I'm saying. We already know. We're here to network. That's the deal. That's what it is. If we become friends, great. If we're cool, great. But number one, network. That's what we're here for. If it's an event like that, that's different. See, I already went over 20 minutes, and I told you this was going to be short. I jinxed myself. But if it's just the regular, everyday type thing, then don't make the network thing the number one when you approach people to see if they can be a stepping stone for this or a stepping stone for that. Because people are more than that. They're worth more than that. You're worth more than that. That is my point. Don't live to network. Try to build a meaningful, even if temporary, connection if you're looking to learn more about someone. So, that's all I got. For those who have been following, again, I appreciate you more than you know. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. YouTube, Daily Motion. If you are watching, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on YouTube, followed by the notification bell there. And that will let you know when I upload new videos. New things are coming. I've just been silently working on those new things. So new things are coming. I'm just moving at a slow pace. But anyways, thank you very much for the support. Until next time, be blessed.